Darkness often hides in plain sight. It doesn't announce itself with grand gestures or menacing warnings. No, true malice lurks in the shadows, wearing the mask of the ordinary, waiting, watching, calculating, and sometimes the person standing next to you, smiling, nodding, pretending, does not merely dislike you. They do not simply wish for your downfall. They desire something far worse. They want you erased, gone. The world tells us to ignore our instincts, to assume the best in others, to dismiss the cold shiver down our spine as paranoia. But deep down, in the marrow of our bones, we know the truth. Some people harbor a darkness so absolute, so unyielding, that their hatred transcends mere contempt. They don't just want you to fail, they want you to cease existing altogether. And if you're not careful, if you fail to recognize the warning signs, they may succeed. But how can you tell? How do you separate those who merely despise you from those who are silently plotting your demise? The signs exist, hidden beneath the surface, waiting for those with the wisdom to see. And once you recognize them, there's no turning back. Because when you realize that someone isn't just your enemy, but your executioner in waiting, you are faced with a choice. Do you confront them, or do you vanish before they make you disappear? And it all begins with the first sign. They watch you, not with curiosity, not with admiration, but with something deeper, something older, something primal. It is not the gaze of a rival, but the stare of a predator sizing up its prey. You might catch them in fleeting moments, too brief to confirm, but too chilling to ignore. You might feel their eyes on you in a crowded room, their gaze burrowing into you like a silent dagger. It's not coincidence. It's not your imagination. It's the weight of their desire, their longing to see you gone. But their stare isn't just passive observation. Number it is a calculation, a test. They are studying you, learning your patterns, your weaknesses. They want to know when you are most vulnerable, when you are alone, when your guard is down. This is not hate. Hate is loud. Hate announces itself in anger, in words, in action. But this is quiet. This is patient. This is death, waiting in the wings, dressed in the clothes of the ordinary. And if you do not see it, if you do not recognize it for what it is, then you may already be in their web, struggling against a trap you do not even realize has been set. But the stare is just the beginning, because after the stare comes the silence, a silence so profound, so deliberate, that it becomes deafening. They will not argue with you. They will not confront you. They will not waste their breath on you. To them, you are already dead, and the dead do not deserve the courtesy of conversation. When they speak, it is brief, measured, as if words are too valuable to be wasted on someone who, in their mind, does not have long left. This silence is a warning, but it is also a strategy, because words reveal intentions, words betray emotions, and they do not wish to betray anything, not yet. They want you unaware, unprepared. They want you to believe that their apathy is indifference, when in reality, it is a quiet, smoldering intent. And this is the moment, the exact moment, when most people fail to see the truth. Because silence can be ignored. Silence can be excused. But silence, true, deliberate silence, is a whisper from the abyss. It is the space where plans are formed, where decisions are made. And when they finally break that silence, when they speak again, their words will be chosen with purpose, with precision. And that is where the real danger begins. Because the third sign is the poison of suggestion. They will not attack you outright. They do not need to. Instead, they will plant seeds, subtle but potent. A rumor here, a false concern there. They will whisper just loud enough for others to hear, just quiet enough for you to doubt, and what they say will not be obvious slander. Number that would be too crude, too easy to refute. Instead, they will make it seem as if they are simply stating facts. They will frame their words as if they are merely sharing an observation, an innocent thought, and yet somehow those around you will begin to change. People will look at you differently, speak to you with hesitation, distance themselves without explanation. You will sense it before you understand it. A shift in the air, a change in energy, as if something unseen is pulling them away from you, isolating you, weakening you, and that is precisely the intent. Because before they strike, they must ensure that when you fall, no one will be there to catch you. This is the moment where the noose tightens, where the whispers become walls, where the world around you grows colder, lonelier, more uncertain. And if you do not act now, if you do not see the game being played, then you may already be standing on the edge of the abyss. Because the fourth sign is the most insidious of them all, the one that ensures your fate is sealed before you even realize the game has begun. And once you recognize it, you may not have much time left. But tell me, have you ever felt this? Have you ever sensed that someone wasn't just against you, but wanted to erase you? If so, share your thoughts below. Because this is not just a story, this is a warning. But the fourth sign is the most insidious of them all, the one that ensures your fate is sealed before you even realize the game has begun. It is not the stare, it is not the silence, it is not the poison of suggestion. No, this is something far darker, far more methodical. This is the slow, calculated unraveling of your world, a destruction so subtle that by the time you notice, the walls have already collapsed around you. They do not attack your body. They attack your reality. Everything you once relied on, your support system, your reputation, your peace of mind, begins to corrode. And the worst part, you cannot trace it back to them. That is their brilliance, their precision. They do not leave fingerprints. They do not swing the sword themselves. Instead, they orchestrate the fall, ensuring that when the pieces crumble, you are left holding the blame. Opportunities that once came easily now slip through your fingers. People you trusted begin to question you. The world that once felt stable now feels off. You search for an explanation, but none present themselves. You begin to doubt yourself, wonder if you are imagining things, and that is exactly what they want. They know that the most powerful weapon is not a knife or a bullet, it is doubt. If they can make you question your own reality, your own instincts, your own worth, then they do not need to destroy you. You will do it for them. This is psychological warfare at its finest. A battle waged in the shadows, where you are the only one who senses the enemy, but no one believes you when you try to warn them. And so, you are left alone, trapped in a world where every move you make feels like another step into quicksand. But there is still one final sign, the last and most terrifying of them all. Because when all else has failed, when the whispers have turned your allies against you, when your stability has been shattered, when your isolation is complete, only then do they strike. And when they do, there is no warning. It is not a dramatic confrontation. It is not a moment of catharsis where you finally unmask them. No, the final act is quiet, inevitable, a hand guiding events from behind the scenes until you are backed into a corner with no way out. Maybe it's an accusation so perfectly timed that you cannot defend yourself. Maybe it's a situation so meticulously crafted that it forces you to act against your own interest. Maybe it's a single moment, a single mistake that they have been waiting for, setting up piece by piece until you have no choice but to fall. And when you do, they will not celebrate. They will not revel in your destruction, because for them, this was never about emotions. This was never about hate. This was about something far colder. This was about removing you from existence. And the most terrifying realization of all, by the time you see it, it's already too late. But now you know. Now you understand the signs, the patterns, the blueprint of those who do not merely hate, but wish to erase. So I ask you, have you ever felt this? Have you ever looked into someone's eyes and sensed not anger, not resentment, but something colder, something final? If so, share your story below, because this is not just a warning. It's a call to awaken, to see beyond the illusion, to recognize the shadows before they consume you. And remember this, the most dangerous enemy is not the one who fights you. It is the one who makes sure you never get the chance to fight back. But what if you could fight back? What if instead of being the prey, you became the one who saw the web before it closed around you? Because the truth is, those who seek to erase you rely on one thing above all: your blindness. They count on your ignorance, your hesitation. They depend on you questioning yourself, on you doubting the very instincts designed to protect you. But once you see the game, once you recognize the signs, you become something they fear: aware. Awareness is your greatest weapon. It is the light that exposes their shadows, the mirror that forces them to see their own reflection. And when you are aware, you take away their power before they can ever strike. So how do you fight back? You start by watching them as they watch you. You turn the gaze back upon the predator, forcing them to realize that you are not oblivious. And that changes everything, because when a predator knows it has been spotted, it hesitates, it recalculates, it second-guesses its every move. You meet their silence with silence of your own. You do not confront them. You do not lash out. That is what they want: to provoke, to bait, to make you move first. Instead, you wait. You observe. You let them believe you are still in the dark while you study them as they have studied you. And then you do the one thing they never expect. You speak, not in anger, not in fear, but with the precision they themselves have used against you. You expose them, not with wild accusations, but with truth. Calculated, unshakable. You dismantle the illusion they have crafted, piece by piece, in front of the very audience they sought to turn against you, because their strength lies in secrecy, in manipulation, in whispers behind closed doors. But when the light shines upon them, when the world sees them for what they are, their power collapses, and sometimes that is enough. But there is something deeper, something even more important, because the greatest power of all is not just to defend yourself, but to transcend the game entirely, to step beyond the cycle of predator and prey, to rise above the battlefield they have set for you, because those who seek to destroy others do so because they are small. They are ruled by fear, by insecurity, by a need to erase what they cannot control. They are prisoners of their own shadows. But you are more. You do not need to destroy them in return. You do not need to fall into the abyss they have prepared for you. Because the moment you step beyond their reach, the moment you choose elevation over entanglement, you win. They will rage in silence. They will seethe behind the mask. But they will know. They will see that their greatest failure was believing they could break something that was never within their grasp to begin with. And so I leave you with this. Have you ever faced this kind of darkness? And if so, did you fight, or did you rise beyond it? Tell me below, because this is not just a conversation, it is a reckoning, and the time has come to see the shadows for what they truly are. And now you must ask yourself the final question, the one that determines everything. What will you do with this knowledge? Because awareness is not enough. Knowing the game exists does not remove you from it. It only gives you a choice. Will you remain a piece on their board, or will you step beyond it? For some, the instinct is vengeance, to strike back, to dismantle the enemy before they have the chance to move again. And while it may feel righteous, while it may seem like justice, understand this. Revenge keeps you tethered to them. It binds you in the same darkness they have embraced. But the true path, the higher path, is mastery. Mastery over your mind, over your emotions, over the invisible strings they tried to pull. Mastery that renders their schemes powerless. Because the moment they realize they cannot control you, they lose interest. They thrive on your reaction, on your fear, on your need to engage. But when you refuse to play, when you stand untouched, unbothered, untouchable, you become something beyond their reach. And that is where true power lies. The world is filled with those who seek to destroy, to manipulate, to control. They will always exist, hiding in plain sight, weaving their webs in silence. But now, you know how to see them. You know how to break free before the noose tightens. And most importantly, you know that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on those who seek to pull you into the abyss. So I ask you one last time, have you ever faced a presence like this in your life? Have you ever realized, too late, or just in time, that someone did not just hate you, but sought to erase you? If you have, share your story below, because in speaking, in revealing the unseen, you strip them of their greatest power, secrecy, and remember, the strongest warriors are not those who destroy their enemies, but those who rise so high that their enemies can no longer reach them. But what happens when rising above is not enough? What happens when the shadows refuse to retreat? When the predator refuses to accept defeat? What happens when, despite your wisdom, despite your awareness, the danger lingers, watching, waiting, searching for a new way to strike? Because some enemies do not stop, some forces do not yield. There are those who are so consumed by their hatred, so bound to their own darkness, that they will chase you even as you ascend. They will reach for you, claw at you, desperate to pull you back into their web. And if you are not careful, if you do not see the last and most crucial truth, you may fall. Because to truly escape, to truly be untouchable, you must go beyond awareness, beyond mastery. You must understand the final lesson, the one that has been hidden, buried beneath the surface of every battle, every betrayal, every attempt to erase you. And that lesson is this: you must not only see them, you must see through them, because in the end, their power was never real. It was never theirs to begin with. It existed only because you once believed in it, because you allowed their whispers to shape your reality, their presence to dictate your movements, their schemes to consume your thoughts. But now, you must ask yourself, who were they, truly? A destroyer? A hunter? A force of nature sent to end you? Number. They were none of these things. They were afraid. Afraid of what you are. Afraid of what you represent. Afraid of your strength, your presence, your very existence. Because if they were not afraid, they would not have tried so desperately to erase you. And once you realize that, once you truly grasp the weight of that truth, something remarkable happens. The fear shifts, no longer yours, but theirs. Because now they are exposed. Now they see that you have stepped beyond their reach, not just in body, not just in strategy, but in understanding. And there is nothing more terrifying to a predator than prey that is no longer afraid. That is when they crumble. That is when they vanish. That is when they realize at long last that they were never hunting you. They were running from you, because power does not belong to those who seek to destroy. It belongs to those who cannot be destroyed, to those who stand, unshaken, in the face of every attempt to silence them, to those who see through the illusion and recognize the game for what it truly is, a desperate attempt by the weak to control the strong. So I ask you, not as a warning, but as a challenge, have you finally seen through them? Have you recognized that their power was nothing but a mirage, a shadow cast by their own fear? And if you have, what will you do now? Because the final step is yours to take, not in fear, not in hatred, but in absolute, unshakable freedom. And in that moment, you will know they never had the power to erase you. Only you ever held that choice. And now you stand at the edge of something greater, not just survival, not just victory, but something far more powerful, transcendence. Because this was never just about them. It was never just about their schemes, their hatred, their attempts to erase you. That was only the surface. The real battle was always within. It was always about you. Not about their darkness, but your light. Not about their need to destroy, but your power to create. Not about their fear of you, but your realization that you were never meant to live small enough to be erased in the first place. And that changes everything. Because now, you do not just walk away. You do not just leave them behind. You rise beyond them in a way they cannot fathom, in a way that shatters everything they believed about control, about power, about their ability to define the world around them. Because when you truly see, when you finally understand, you become untouchable. Not because you are back harder, not because you proved them wrong, but because you no longer exist in the world where their opinion, their existence, their hatred even matters. You have outgrown the battlefield. And that is the final truth. That is the secret they never wanted you to uncover. The moment you stop fighting them, stop fearing them, stop reacting to them, you ascend to a level where they cannot follow. Because their world is small. It is built on manipulation, on fear, on control. It is fragile, desperate, constantly grasping. But yours is infinite. Yours is untouchable. Yours is something they never had the power to erase. Because you were never the victim of their game. You were the lesson they were meant to learn. And that lesson is this: no force on this earth can erase someone who has stepped beyond the reach of destruction itself. So now, I ask you one final time. Are you ready to step beyond? Or will you remain in the world where they still hold power over you? The choice has always been yours, and now it is time to make it.